The Return of the Twelves by Pauline Clarke, Alexander Sneaky. He looked at Jane with a kind of triumph. It was sad in a way that his secret was over, and now that he had time to think of it, it was mean of Jane to have hidden like that. But nonetheless, there was no question of Jane not believing or laughing at him. Jane had seen it with her own eyes. Jane was frightened and bewildered. She was looking at Max as if he were a person she had not known before. "How did you do it?" she said huskily. "At first," Max said, "it was when I beat the Ashanti drum. But this time, they did it on their own. They came downstairs, too. That time I was in the kitchen, and you all came back, and Stumps got lost. He hid, you see, Jane. You've jolly well got to promise not to tell anyone else. Yet, after all, it was a bit beastly to hide like that." "I know," Jane said. "I didn't mean to. I was just going to get the rest of my books from that trunk, and then I heard you coming, and I thought it would be fun to hear your game, because you wouldn't tell me. But I didn't know it was this kind of a secret," said Jane. The color had come back into her cheeks. Max took these tiny, lively creatures for granted. He did not seem frightened by their doings, so she need not. The strangeness of the little soldiers began to be overcome in her mind by the same excitement and delight as Max felt. "Max, I'm sorry I hid," she went on. "But it's marvelous." Max nodded. He was appeased because Jane was so impressed. "You can be a genie too if you like," he said generously, "and watch over them." "What's a genie? Like the Arabian Nights?" "Sort of. I'm one. I look after them and they consult me. At least Butter does." "Is Butter the most important?" "His name's Butter Crashy. He's the patriarch, 140, and he's the oracle for them. He comes to ask me things." "How did you think of Butter Crashy?" "I didn't think of it, he told me," Max said with scorn. "They know their names and their ages, and they remember all about an expedition to Africa and a kingdom they had there. They tell me what I think," explained Max, as he and Jane sat on the top stair. "What I think," explained Max as he and Jane sat on the top stair, "is this, that the boys who had them before and who were their genie made all this up." "I see. What boys?" "Well, some family must have had them over 100 years ago, like Daddy said, and Butter says there were four genie. Or it may be some girls too," he said kindly. "So I expect you could be a genie if you wanted." "I do," said Jane. "They're sweet," she said. "You mustn't call them sweet," Max replied. "Soldiers wouldn't like it, and they don't like me helping them too much either. They have to do things their own way. Look, Jane, promise you won't tell anyone, yet." Jane put her palm on Max's. "I absolutely swear," she said. "I'm going back to ask B. Crashy about those other 3 kings. I didn't know there were 4 kings till today." "Can I come?" Jane pleaded. "Not this time. I'll ask him about your being a genie, shall I? You see, they're not used to you yet." "All right," she said. "I'll wait here." But Max was gone for a long time, and then the telephone bell rang, and Jane's mother called her. So, casting a longing glance at the closed attic door, she went down. Max had gone back into the attic, sat on the stool, which was now deserted, and picked up Butter Crashy. The rest had moved the ramp from the stool to the Ashanti canoe, and with whoops of delight were climbing aboard it. "I enjoyed the parade," began Max. Butter Crashy seemed pleased, and his wise, wrinkled patriarchal face creased into an endearing smile. It was the first time Max had noticed his smile. "We knew that you would be present, O protector of Stumps," he said. "Butter Crashy, tell me about the 3 other kings. I know about Arthur Wellesley, Duke of Wellington, scourge of Napoleon," Max said, thinking this sounded very grand. "But why were there 4 kings?" "We divided our kingdom amongst the Ashanti into 4 parts," the patriarch explained. "Therefore, there were 4 kings." "Oh, I see," Max said, and he added eagerly, "Were there 4 kings because there were 4 genie?" He had just thought of this. Butter Crashy nodded wisely. "No doubt," he said. "That was why. 1 to protect each king in each country." "Of course," Max agreed. "I suppose the genie chose the kings?" "It is lost to the ancient days of the young men. But our legends say that the 4 genii seized upon 4 chosen warriors, promised to protect them, and told them that they should one day all be kings. I'd choose Stumps, thought Max. Do the legends say, he asked, what the names of the genii were? If he knows this, thought Max, I shall find out about this boy or boys who had them so long ago. Butter looked quite shocked. We have all known the names of the genii, he protested, since time out of mind. Can you tell me what they were? Max asked boldly. The chief of genius was Branny. The others were Tally, Emmy, and Annie. Max sighed. They were very made-up names, but of course he should have expected this. Did they live here in this very place? He asked. Who can say where the genii live? They are not confined to houses, but often reside in the desert or the hills or the strange places of the clouds, Butter said solemnly. All the same, he added in a more practical tone, that a bird was not very far from here. And do you know, Butter Crashy, Max asked next, which genie chose which soldier? Who should know but I, said the patriarch. It was after the building of our first town in Africa. I had gone into the desert to seek out the genii, while the rest were sitting together in the common hall. The air suddenly darkened, the hall shook, and streams of fire continually flashed through the room, followed by long and loud peals of thunder. You may read it in the history of the young men, he said, and Max was disappointed, for he was afraid that the patriarch had finished speaking, and he did not know where to find the history of the young men, even if there really were such a book. What happened then? He said eagerly. A dreadful monster entered the room, with me in his hand. He placed me down, gently, for although the genii are terrible to us in power, we have learnt to know they are kindly disposed. And, said in a loud voice, Butter paused. What, yes? Max whispered. I am the chief genius Branny. With me there are 3 others. She, Wellesley, who protects you, is named Tally. She who protects Perry is named Emmy. She who protects Ross is called Annie. We are the guardians of this land. We are the guardians of you all. Revere this man, Crashy. He is entrusted with secrets which you can never know. At this point, Crashy winked very solemnly, yet Max thought he could detect a twinkle in his black mouse-like eyes. Then he spread out his dragon wings. And flew away, said the patriarch. So, said Max, who had been listening intently, there was 1 boy genius and 3 girl genii. That is so, Butter said. 1 boy, Max thought, and 3 sisters. And now, in these degenerate days, the patriarch added rather sadly, we are reduced to 1 genius only, yourself. Oh, Maxie, how the mighty have fallen, he added, sniffing. Max liked Maxie. It sounded much more like a genius. A new genius has come, he explained, one whose name is Janie. Butter looked very pleased and nodded. Come, that's better, he said, dropping his oracle's manner. We shall be more protected, and such accidents as befell Stumps lately may be prevented. Butter Crashy, asked Max next, which soldier did the chief genius protect? Was it Sneaky, the very lively one? Do you know, right at the beginning, I saw him make you alive. I mean to say, Max stopped confused. It looked as if he woke you all up. No wonder, Butter said, not at all put out. Alexander Sneaky it is, and he was the first favorite of the chief genius Branny, the red-headed. He is certainly lively, though he has moods and strikes attitudes. He is ingenious, artful, deceitful, but courageous, explained the patriarch. No wonder he woke us up. Did we not live under the protection of the chief genius Branny, and Sneaky is his man? Of course, I see, Max answered, and he thought to himself that the chief genius must have started the game and kept it going, and perhaps the soldiers were really his, as he was the boy. as he was the boy. "And Perry," Max said, "what's he like?" "There he is, climbing the prow of that ship now, by a secret way," said Butter, pointing. Perry had scorned the ramp, and scrambling over some books and papers was about to drop down over the bows and take the rest by surprise. "He is 15, and a brave sailor-like young man, but a little too fond of subterfuge," Butter said. What sneaks these kings seem to be, thought Max, but it is better than being all the same and dull old heroes. "How the mighty have fallen," said Butter again, as Tracky shot up from the canoe and hit Perry smartly down to the ground again with a piece of balsa. Max laughed, and even the patriarch was seen to smile. "And Ross? What's Ross doing?" Max asked. "There he is, standing in the gunwale, 16 years, frank, open, honest, and of a bravery, when in battle, sometimes approaching madness. Though I admit he is a queer-looking thing to look at. He was once protected by the genius Annie." One sister, thought Max, was called Anne. "Maxie, Maxie," called his mother, and it sounded as if her feet were upon the very stair of the attic. "Help!" Max gasped, and he put down the patriarch in the boat and dashed from the room with a clatter and a bang. And that, he thought as he ran to the stairs, is what they call thunder. And that's the end of chapter 8.